All right, CW fans, we're going to be talking about November Sweepstakes. It's a contest, and I'm going to show you what I do to prepare for this contest. It's sponsored by the ARRL, and I think it is like, I guess there really is an Olympics of contests, which is like the WRTC, but I think this is one of those contests that will make or break a CW operator. They also have a phone version of this, but I'll pull up the website here. And the reason why I think that this is one of those make or break contests for CW operators is because of the exchange. A lot of people don't like the exchange for November Sweepstakes. They're like, oh, I get a headache, or it's just like too long, or you just can't like log as many queues as possible, whatever. This is one of those things where, you know, what's coming at you is not a simple 59973, right? So there's going to be a lot of information exchanged, and the actual contest QSO is somewhat long, so it's kind of interesting. So first things first, the CW portion of the contest, which is the only one that I care about, is going to be November 4th through 6th. I used to do the phone contest every once in a while, but you know, I just, you know, over the last 20 years, I've just got a microphone not too long ago for my my new Yaesu, so I might mess around with the phone part of the contest, and maybe you should too, because it might be kind of fun. But as far as CW is concerned, we've got November 4th through 6th. This video is being recorded in 2023. The contest period begins 2100 UTC on Saturday, so that's going to be like Chicago time. It's going to be like 1400, which is, or 1600, which is 4 p.m. ish, and it runs through. Just call it 0300 UTC on Monday. The interesting thing about this contest, and I always thought it was kind of cool, is through the middle of the night, that's when the time change happens for daylight savings time back to standard time. So that's kind of an interesting anecdote. Now for, and I'm kind of looking on my other monitor here for what we've got here. There's a couple of entry categories, which I'll talk about in a minute. You can do single operator, unlimited. You can do multi-app. There's a couple of different overlays, but check out some of the information here under operating guidelines. So this contest exchange. So what we're going to do is we're going to be, you know, calling CQ, and then, you know, somebody will answer us. They'll say, you know, this is Whiskey 9, you know, whatever, and we're going to respond with a consecutive contact number starting with 1. So that my very first contact is going to be 1. Then we're going to be sending a single letter after that number 1, or at least that contest exchange. And it's called the precedence. And I'm not sure why they call it a precedence, but it's going to be either a Q, A, B, U, M, or S. You don't see a ton of S's in the contest. You'll see a bunch of M's and U's, B's, A's, and a couple of Q's. I typically go for single operator, low power. I traditionally haven't had an amplifier almost my whole ham radio life until recently, but I just choose not to use it. It's not a huge deal for me. I just have a wire in a tree, so it's not something that I really care about. Plus, I kind of like the challenge of going 100 watts. So I'm going to be in precedence A. So the first part of our contest exchange, I'm going to log a contact, which will be, you know, contact number 1, contact number 2, 3, 4. So it's going to be like number 1A is what I'm going to send, because that's going to be me. I'm operating low power. Now the peculiar part of this exchange in November Sweepstakes is that you have to send your call sign as part of the exchange. So now all of a sudden, and I'm going to put this up just to kind of like help illustrate what this exchange is starting to look like. So my first QSO, I'm going to send the person 1, and then the letter A, and I don't know, yeah, can I blow that up? There we go. So I'm going to send them 1A, then I'm going to send them my call sign, and then let's see, what else? Your call sign, and then I need to send them a check digit, which is the last 2 digits of the year the operator or the station was first licensed. You gotta use that same check digit throughout the whole contest. So as I'm building my exchange, I was first licensed in 1993, so I'll be putting that in there. And then the last part of the exchange is going to be the ARRL section that you are in, and I'm in Indiana. So that's what my exchange is going to look like. So every contact that I make, it's going to be 1 Alpha K9KJ 93 Indiana. The second contact I make is going to be 2 Alpha K9KJ 93 Indiana. The third contact, and it goes on and on and on. So the cool thing is I like to use N1MM. It keeps track of all of this stuff. And the second part of this video is what I wanted to show you as far as how I get N1MM set up and some of the stuff that I do to prepare for this contest. Like I said, it's a brain burner because you are going to have to copy a exchange number, a QSO number. So that's going to be changing every QSO. So you just can't try to figure out what the person's call sign is and then 599, right? So you're going to have to figure out what a QSO number is, what their precedence is. Obviously, you're going to have to copy their call sign. You're also going to have to copy a 2-digit number, which is their year they're first licensed, and then of course their state. So, kind of I think it's fun. I think it's really fun, and it's really cool to really it's like a brain bender. It's like a great CW exercise, and it's I think I always have a good time. So I'm looking forward to it, and that's why it's already less, or maybe it's 3 weeks away from right now, because as you can see, it's I'm recording this in October 15th, so actually almost 3 weeks away. 2 weeks away. Yikes. All right, so and here's some examples of how they say things are going to go down, and just kind of like how I showed you what the exchange looks like. I'm considering live streaming part of the contest. I'm not sure if anyone would be interested in that. It's sounds massively boring to me, but it might be kind of neat for some folks to see. Maybe I'll do an hour or two of it to see what it looks like. If you notice in the top here where it says the contest, it begins at 2100 UTC on Saturday and runs through 0300 UTC on Monday. That's more than 24 hours. And you're probably like, hey, wait a second, what's that all about? If you look down here, you'll see that all stations may operate no more than 24 of the 30 hours, which is kind of cool because it gives you a little bit of a break in the evening, that 2 a.m. doldrums and slow period. You can go take a nap and chill out and wake up at 6 a.m. and continue on. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Let's see what else here. There's log submission, blah blah blah. So yeah, as far as the if you go to arrl.org/sweepstakes, it gives you a lot of info. So what I want to do is jump right into N1MM and show you. So N1MM is a contest software. You can download it freely from just Google N1MM, and just trying to bring it up here. You can download it, and it's free. It's got tons of capability, and I'm going to move everything over to here. So when you start N1MM, some windows start up, and this is really kind of like the main window. Another window that pops up, and I usually try to move these windows right on top of each other so I can kind of see what's going on. And as you could see, looks like I've already got some contacts in here, because when you start up N1MM, it brings you to the last contest that you've participated in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to do a new log, in the database. And what that does is it pulls up this screen right here. So what I am going to do is, I think it's under ARRL, maybe not, DX, might be under just sweepstakes. And it is. SSCW, Sweepstakes CW, ARRL Sweepstakes. It's in November. I pull it up here. It looks like the date is correct. That is very awesome. I'm going to fill out what, I don't know if I can make this any bigger. Nope, can't. I'm going to fill out my operator. I'm single op, of course. I'm going to do all bands. I like to do all bands. That way I'm not restricted. I'm going to do low power. I'm obviously CW. I'm not going to do any overlays. There are some overlays that kind of give you some different like award capabilities. I'm not going to do any of them. I'm a fixed station. I don't think the contest even designates or cares whether you're fixed or mobile or whatever. And I'm going to go non-assisted. I usually do non-assisted because I think it's more fun. Some people think assisted is more fun, and that's cool. Now, what's the difference? If you are doing assisted, that means you are using something called the DX cluster or other capabilities to be able to find out where other contacts are and to help you, up and down the band or go to different bands to find contacts. This is, particularly interesting for people that are doing search and pounce as opposed to calling CQ. But there's, and maybe I should back up and talk about what that means. So in a contest, you're usually calling CQ and looking for people to call you, right? If you are one of the participants that maybe doesn't want to call CQ, maybe a little apprehensive, or it's just like too chaotic, you will then be a search and pounce person. So you'll be, going up and down the band, searching for contacts, and then pouncing on them essentially. So I go non-assisted. I'm not going to use the DX cluster or any assistance. I got one transmitter. I'm going to put in my exchange here. So it's going to be alpha, and it's going to be 93 Indiana. I'm going to be, that's my call sign. And here, I'll go to associated files here. And what I'll usually do is I'll go down to this call history file name and hit the change button. Nope. Is that right? Yeah. Here, let me change this. And it looks like there are call history files like Sweepstakes CW in here. I'll click that to open it. Yeah, I think that's how you do that. So what that'll do is it'll give you people that have previously worked the contest, and it'll and as we do things, as we go through the contest, I'll show you why this might be advantageous for you to do. Let's see here. Yeah, associated files. We'll do that. And then, yeah, I'll hit OK. And that starts a new contest. So this is what it looks like. I do like to turn on additional, if you go into window, there are a bunch of additional windows that you can pull up. Like, for example, let's see here. It's band map is what it's called. It's over here. I usually like to put the band map over on the left side, somewhere like right around there. And what that'll do is it shows me where my radio is, and it'll show me all of the people that I called here. Like, for example, if I start putting in that, and I guess it's not really showing. I'll show you during the contest, but trust me, when you'll want to have the band map showing, because it'll show you all the frequencies and where the person is on those frequencies. The other thing I like to show is score summary. It's over here. I'll usually put that somewhere right around there, so it'll show me what my score looks like. Also, if you go to window and go to multipliers and hit sections and states, that will pull open, this right here. I'm not sure why it's showing that I already have some sections already worked. It's kind of weird. Oh, I know why. I'll tell you what that means in a second. The other window I like to open up is the info window, and that would be this right here. Kind of gives me an idea of, how well I'm doing, how many QSOs I'm doing for the 10-minute, the 100-minute, the 60, or the last 10 QSOs, the last 100 QSOs, last 60 minutes, things like that. It kind of gives me my rates. And then, just for the heck of it, sometimes I'll do this gray line window, which I'll kind of like maybe put over here somewhere, so I can kind of see, because I'm in a basement and I don't really know if it's sunny outside or whatever. So not that that really even matters, but it kind of like gives me an idea of what propagation might be doing at that time. So if we're like looking at getting into the dark hours, I'm going to start maybe switching to 40 meters or 80 meters, something like that. When it starts getting light outside, I'll know that I'll start wanting to jump up the band and go to 20 meters or 15 meters. The other thing that I will show you, and I alluded to this when I see this red square here, because I'm like, wow, I don't even have anybody in my log yet, and there's like little squares populating into some of these sections, which I didn't realize that. What I have here is, if you look at the top, see where it says spotted? So it looks like Nebraska has been spotted, Wisconsin has been spotted. Then that's because if you go to Window and Telnet, if you have the Telnet function in N1MM set up, it will take information from the Telnet screen and populate it over here to give you an idea of the fact that there are other people on the bands. And this is one of those things, like if you have this set up, this automatically changes your category to assisted as opposed to non-assisted. So you are now assisted. So during the contest, or at least when the contest starts, I will have to I would just basically close this out, so I won't have the Telnet window open, kind of like so. And these will not populate, and I will not get any assistance in figuring out where stations are and what frequencies they're on. So that's kind of how I have N1MM set up. This is like the screen layout that I have. What I'll typically do is I'm going to be using the Flex radio. I've got a 6600 here, and I've got it connected. There's a couple of configs, and I did another video on how to key your Flex radio, how to key the Yaesu FT101, and also I think I've got the K3S out there. But if you go here and configure ports, you'll be able to see that I've got the Flex radio on COM 4, and then I've got CW keying on COM 5. So I'm able to key the radio, and I can even test that. If here, let me go to my Flex radio and bring the power all the way down, some clear frequency, and we'll just throw my call sign out there, and it looks like it's keying it up. So it did. There you go. So yeah, that's what that looks like. Just for your benefit, what I typically do is I'll take my Flex radio window and move it over to my other monitor. So now I have it over on my left monitor, and I have my N1MM right here on my right monitor, and this is where I start to input all the call signs as I go through the contest. What I can do is I'll maybe show you, well, let's see here, let's go to an appropriate band, like let's just go to 80 meters because nobody's down there right now at this time of day. Let's see here. Let's bring the RF power all the way down to 0. Actually, you know what, let's bring it up to, I know you can't see this because it's on the other screen, let's bring it up to like 5 watts. So what I'll do is I'll I'll just put in this person here. It looks like they have done this contest before, so some of it pre-fills, which is great. So you're going to have to double check that, because sometimes people change things. So don't take this for granted. Don't take it for granted, because sometimes things change. People go to different states to work. So you're going to have a busted call if you do not double check this stuff. So when this K9 PG person, we're gonna be their number one contact, and maybe they're running QRP. So that's what the exchange looks like. And it's a little bit out of order on N1MM. I wanted to address that. N1MM is smart enough to know you can put the stuff in just about any order and it'll figure it out. So if you see up here, it says 86 Illinois, that's obviously the last part of the exchange. So they were licensed in 86, they're from Illinois, and we're their first QSO. Or maybe we're their 7th QSO. And we'll hit enter and you'll be able to see how that goes. And the cool part is, all right, so now this stuff starts to populate. We have some performance metrics here in our info screen, and also Illinois changed to blue. I kind of screwed up, and I started the packet cluster on accident and didn't realize it, and we've got some red stuff up here that's spotted. But during, like, when I redo this and refresh it for the contest, it'll all be blank. So all I will be looking for is for all of these start to populate into being blue, which is kind of cool. And I'll be able to see like my QSO metrics up here. So as we kind of go along here, we'll start doing we'll do that person's calls. Oh, they haven't done it. Let's do, I know K9CT definitely does this contest, and you'll see that it's been populated. But let's do somebody that, like WE8L. Nope, they do that. Let's do WE9L. If you hit the space bar, it'll move it over to the exchange section. And when it moves over to the exchange section, this is where you can put in, all right, you're listening to them. All right, we're number 5. They're B. That means they're running high power. So we're their 5th QSO, B. They'll send WE9L. Remember, you have to send the call sign as part of the exchange. And then they were licensed in 2006, and they're in Wisconsin. So you can do it just like that and hit enter, and it knows. So now all of a sudden I've got Wisconsin over here in my blue box here. So things are looking good. So we're cruising right along. And you'll see over here in the band map, it's like, all right, cool, I'm on 3.545 on 80 meters, and I started working people right here on this frequency. The other piece is, like when I'm calling CQ, there are 2 functions of N1MM. You can see that I'm on search and pounce mode right now. If I'm calling CQ, I want to be in run mode. And you'll see that it'll keep track of what frequency I was on when I was calling CQ. Now there's 2 significant parts of this, and this is very important to understand when you're either going back and forth doing search and pounce, just kind of looking for stations, or if you are running in CW. If you make use of the CW keying through N1MM to key the radio, which is very preferable, it changes based on whether you're in search and pounce mode or whether you're on run mode. So the way you can figure out what changes is, like, if you're in search and pounce mode, the exchange is probably different, and so is the thank you is probably different, and so is the F1 key is probably different. And you can tell what those are is if you just right click on any one of these F keys, or these buttons down here, right click, it'll magically pull up the CW message editor, and you'll see that if you're in run mode, this is what happens for F1. This is what happens for F2. This is what happens for F3. If you're in search and pounce mode, this is what happens for F1, 2, and 3, and 4. Looks like, F4, 5, and 6, those are all pretty much standard, but depending on what mode you're in, you might want these to be different. Like, for example, if you were in run mode and you're calling CQ and you're going through everything and going through the exchange, and then the exchange is complete and you want to say thank you, you'll see the first part of this is actually the label on the F key. See that right there? TU. F3 is TU. And the second part of this is what's actually going to be sent via CW. So if you're calling CQ, blah, 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 you go through the exchange, it's like, all right, cool. You want to say thank you. You say, thank you, QRZ, this is K9KJ, right? That's how you would typically hear somebody that's calling CQ run through a QSO and then say thank you and then do a QRZ. Now, if you're just doing search and pounce, it would be kind of like really weird and awkward if you said QRZ, right? So if you come down here, if you're in search and pounce, you have the exchange. You go, yeah, I'm number 7 Alpha K9KJ 93 Indiana, blah, blah, blah. And it's always good to let's double check make sure all of this looks right? But for example, if you want to say thank you and you're in search and pounce mode, you just want it to say, their call sign, thank you, right? Or maybe even just thank you. Now, the other thing is, you're probably thinking, all right, wait a second, there's some weird stuff going on here. When I look at some of these exchanges here, there's an exclamation point. There's a pound sign. There's another exclamation point here. There's a pound sign. You're thinking, what is all this stuff? Well, the cool thing is that the exclamation point, if you just put in the exclamation point, what that does is it signifies whatever is in this box here. So if you're typing in somebody's call sign like whiskey 8, whiskey or whatever, it's going to send whiskey 8, whiskey. And then this pound sign is going to send this number right here. It's going to send this number. So whiskey 8, whiskey, you're 235 Alpha. My call is, they call it a macro. My call is whatever is set up in here, right? So when you go to configure your contest and configure N1MM, that's where it's going to pull that from. You can say, you know what, forget it. This is like kind of weird for me. You can do that if you want. It's no big deal. So I just like, all right, his call or her call, the number Alpha K9KJ 93 Indiana. Some people like to run, let's see here, the number and the precedence together. So they'll do 93 Alpha 9. Sometimes they'll do that. I like to have a little bit of a space here because it's a long enough string that I like to have a little bit of space in there. This is already a complex exchange. So you can hit save, and that's kind of what that looks like. I know it's a lot of information, just kind of like ramming a lot of it in there. I don't want this to be like a massively long video. I'm trying to keep it under a half hour. But what I'll do is I'll do another video on this like right before the contest to and probably the first hour of the contest to show you how the flow works and how things start to go. But this is what it looks like. There are other videos. Like I said, I'm planning on using my Flex radio. I have the Flex screen on my left screen, and this is my right screen. So it's right over my keyboard, so that's cool. And I like these windows set up kind of like this. You can set them up any way you want, and then when you exit out of N1MM like that, and then go back into N1MM, the cool thing is that the windows go back to the places where they used to be, which is pretty awesome. So that's what that looks like. I'm going to start deleting all of this stuff and get it ready for the contest. Of course, there's going to be another video right before the contest, and I'm going to live stream probably the first hour of it, so you can kind of see what some of this starts to look like. And then hopefully that'll encourage you to want to kind of like play around with the contest also. And I think this is an awesome way to really solidify your comprehension of numbers and letters, and especially like states and ARRL sections. So very cool contest. It's my favorite contest. It was one of the first contests I've ever operated, and so it's kind of like one of those things that's got a special place in its heart for me. So looking forward to seeing everybody on November 4th after lunchtime. Start getting ready, and we'll get this party started. So everyone, have a great afternoon, and CW on, my friends.